is a video on Billie. This is to show her owners how she's doing and the different things that we've had to work on. Billie came to us as a very gentle, sweet, lovable mare that was rideable, but just didn't seem to know a whole lot. One of the first things that we do when we get a horse in that is rideable is we find out where their holes are. And one of Billie's biggest holes was that she wouldn't give to the bit. She'd stiffen and resist. So one of the first things we do is we take time and work them in a lot of circles. We get them to where when we pick up the rein, add some inside leg, that they'll actually drop their head around. Now Billie's hardest side is her left side, and here you can see how she's kind of struggling. This is also the first day that I tried this bit on her. I've been using a snaffle on her, and she seems to like that the best. Some of her issues came from never really understanding what was being asked of her. And so that's what we've done. We went back to basics and tried to show her what she's supposed to be doing. We always add inside leg first and then pick up our reins, keeping our outside rein always loose. You can see how she's starting to melt down. We do this walk, trot, and then later even the canter. The canter can be harder because of the lead changes in the middle of it. But if a horse is actually bending and going with you, they're standing up. And therefore it's easier and better, and you can make better turns. Billie needs to learn how to always be ready to give. There you saw she kind of lifted her head and stiffened. And that's what we're trying to get rid of, is the stiffening spot. We want her to melt with our hands every time we pick up and talk to her. There she went a little better, how she dropped her head and neck. And then she listened and came back to me. That's our ultimate goal, and this is something that they have to do in their mind. So they can't just do it instantly. It's just like learning math. You can know what 1 plus 1 is or 2 plus 2, but if people start throwing it out there fast to you, you might forget. So it takes time to get it down good. And there you see she kind of stiffened when I asked her to stop. By getting her to soften, we should be able to get her to quit stiffening when we ask her to stop. The next thing that we like to teach them is how to give and collect. But instead of trying to just drag their chin down to their chest, we like to have them engage their whole body by bending their face to the side when I ask them to collect. Also, this mare will be going towards mounted shooting, so it's real important that you can put an inside leg on her and have her wrap her body and bend her neck, being ready for the turn. There you can really see her push down to the ground with her bit. That was one of the hardest things to get her to do, is to relax enough to push into the pressure instead of resist and panic over the pressure. And it's just consistently over and over again. We ask, when she answers correctly, we loosen up and give her her face. And we just ask over and over again. And there she goes. It has to become something that is natural, because their reaction would be to stiffen and jerk to it. And there you saw one of her issues that we started with. Every time you touch her face, she'd throw her head up and kind of panic over it. She'd stiffen through her body and really stiffen in her shoulders, which can cause you a lot of issues. The lope is one of the hardest paces for them to master, giving their face and their body, because they have to work so much harder. I've had horses in a complete lather and only worked them for maybe a half an hour and loped for 2 minutes. And they were just lathered because of the hard work that it took to do that. This mare is very strong body-wise, but she'll still get very tired doing this just because it's using muscles she's not used to. Now I'm going to come in for a stop here, and you're going to see again she's wanting to brace. In her stop, she braces, but then she drops her head and comes right back. When this mare first came, she couldn't even back up. She's slowly learning how to give that face, but her reaction is to brace. Then she thinks and she gives. Now here we started working on some counter bends just a couple days prior to this video, and this bit again was worked differently than the snaffle, so it took her a while to figure it out. But this is a very important maneuver for a horse that's going to become a neck reining horse, or a horse that is going to have to do gaming, where you need them to pick their shoulder up and move away. If she can't pick her shoulder up and arc away from a barrel or turn and round a barrel, you're not going to do very good in a team type event. There she continues to bob her head. I have to keep my hands real soft and try to show her where she's right. And there she's right, and then I'll soften back up and let her walk. as soon as she keeps going. There she goes. See how she's kind of getting sticky? There she went. When she started to flow, I gave her a second, and then I asked again. And then as she starts to move over again and figures it out, I'll release her again and pet her. It takes time for them to understand this, but there she picked it up a lot quicker. This mare is very talented and has a lot of ability. She just really doesn't know what to do with her body or where to put her feet yet. And so her first answer is to worry. Once we've got the turns and we've got the shoulder control, we can start to step into some basically spins. And what we're asking for is her to bend her body and then follow her body around. This mare originally wanted to just jet propel forward anytime I'd ask her to move her body over. So this has been very difficult for her. Seems like everything we've taught her has been difficult. She's very talented, but she just hasn't been shown anything, so she worries. Instead of thinking, she immediately tries to protect herself, and that would be by bracing up. But we just have to continue to work with her and continue to show her how to get goods. A lot of stuff we do is repetition until she can figure it out. And the quieter she gets, the better she can be. All horses want to learn and they want to work with you. Here you can see she's starting to kind of figure it out. She's starting to move her shoulders around and keep her hip down. And there her stop was better and her face was soft. Now here's the tip from our newest video.
There he goes. He's really starting to soften and come down. Good boy. With a horse that knows how to stop and give their face, you should not have any end, any stiffness in the horse. They continue to flow through all of their steps. There's no throw of the head. There's no resistance when you ask them to back. That was a perfect stop. Good girl. She used her hips really well. Never did she tell me no. She was soft and she was supple. Let's try a lope now. Good girl. Good. That's what we want. Soft, responsive, not bracy or stiff.